You let a parlay cost you your job? Feeling good, feeling great. Feeling great, feeling good. How are you? Welcome into Timeline T. I am your host, D. Sam D, aka Sanders May Jr. Oh, there are some things we need to discuss today. Some of y'all been asking what's up with the NFL. Well, you got what you wanted today. Today is going to be a heavy NFL day, as we are just one more day. 26 hours from now, just under 26 hours from now, all the NBA free agency rumors can stop. Praise be to the basketball gods. But man, we got NFL players out here dropping prop bets and parlays and costing themselves seven-figure jobs. And speaking of bread, we touched on it at the end of the stream yesterday. You can catch the replay of yesterday's stream. I think a very good stream. On the live tab on the YouTube channel itself. But speaking of bread, Travis Kelce money. There's been some more digging. Travis Kelce might have a point. Much like Patrick Mahomes was told by his owner, you're underpaid. There's no way we can ever justify giving you the true worth of your value. Travis Kelce's own people are kind of sort of telling him the same thing. We'll get into it. Oh, such a lovely day, don't you agree? Air quality is horrible up here in the north, but you know, we're figuring things out. Pull the mask back out. All right. So, not one, not two, not three, but four NBA players. Oh, excuse me, NFL players. You see what my head is at, right? You see where my head is at. Not one, not two, not three, but four NFL players have been suspended, and lengthy suspensions at that. Let's jump right into the screen. No reason to hesitate. Rashad Berry, Demetrius Taylor, and Isaiah Rodgers have been suspended for betting on games the NFL announced. Okay? So this is now becoming a acclimated list of players. It just being caught, getting got up, being snitched on by their own apps with their betting. They join Calvin Ridley, CJ Moore, Quintez Cephas, and Shaka Toney on indefinite suspensions, okay? And if you want a full list of the rundown, 10 players have been suspended over the last 2 years for violating the NFL's gambling policy. Here is the list. You see 2 Colts, 5 Lions, which really went under the radar. Shaka Toney from the Washington Commanders, Ridley last year from the Falcons, and Nicholas Petit-Frere. Frere has made a statement. We will get into that. He's not necessarily copy and please, but he just wants to make sure to separate himself in comparison to what may be going on with others on this list, especially Isaiah Rodgers, who seems to be the poster child of this scandal. And why would someone who is, to me, not that known, unless you're a hardcore Colts fan, and Isaiah Rodgers, why is he being the poster child of this news, of this scandal? Well, it's because Mans has put himself out here to be the one to be called out. And where do I have that window? Do I not have that tab? Did I trick that off? Let's see. I can't believe I tricked that off. Did that tab disappear? Okay. Isaiah Rodgers wagers. Among Isaiah Rodgers wagers was a $1,000 prop bet on the over-under of rushing yards on a Colts running back. Now, if you really want to get deep into that story, let's see, let's scroll up here. ESPN did a lot of reporting on this. Where is it? Tabs being moved around. Okay. A source told ESPN that friends of Rodgers who were in Florida encouraged him to place many of the wagers, the majority of which were in the $25 to $50 range. Legal sports betting was not available in Florida this past football season. The largest wager placed through the account was a $1,000 prop bet on the over-under on rushing yards by a Colts running back, which won. Now, we can assume that's Jonathan Taylor. We can assume because he plays for the Colts that he would be privy to whatever the game plan might have been that particular week. So it's a humongous red flag that Isaiah Rodgers is out here placing bets or having friends place bets, whatever the case may be, an account that was easily traced back to him, putting up a $1,000 prop bet on his own team. Why he can understand why that's a problem, I do not know. He has taken full responsibility on social media, but why did he think he could get that off in the first place? That's the issue I'm having, is that amongst these players, Isaiah Rodgers is being put out there on Front Street because he seems to be the one dumb enough to place a bet that was $1,000 on a prop bet and hit on the over-under on a Colts running back, which we could assume most likely was Jonathan Taylor or whoever it was. It doesn't matter because he has insider info. This is like insider trading. This is why betting has been normally outlawed in professional sports, but because of the money that they can bring in and generate and create partnerships with all these different sports books, is kind of allowed the greed to seep in. Morality and greed don't normally commingle. So the NFL, in all these sports really, but especially here in the NFL, with the fact that they've had to suspend 10 guys in just a matter of 2 years. And these are just the dudes that they caught. Okay? This doesn't mean that these are all the dudes that are doing it. I'm sure other dudes are now really making sure that their networks are real tight, airtight. Okay? Trying to understand where all of this is going is if you do the updated list of player gambling suspensions the last 2 years. So this goes deeper, right? At least 1 year on betting on NFL. Okay? That's the clear distinction. There's the crew that bet on NFL, and then there's the crew that bet non-NFL bets, but did it at work or team facilities. Now, understand, team facilities can mean actual team facilities like a stadium, a practice facility, but it could also mean the team hotel, the team bus, the team charter plane, so on and so forth. So it's not just, I was working out in the facility and then I placed a bet. It could be, no, I was on the bus leaving the arena. I was in my hotel. It placed a bet, a non-NFL bet. Still can't do that. And there's been a lot of distinctions and there's been a lot of discussions about whether these stipulations were made ironclad clear to players. And a lot of players that are on this list and players that are not on this list are also stating, hey, that was not made clear to us, which goes to the NFLPA and the NFL. Because if the players don't know what they're to do and what not to do, and then they get knocked for it, that's a case there if it's not made clear in the language or even in the explanation of said language. And one of the player reps went on with your man's McAfee. Let's see if you can find that tab. It's a lot of tabs today. JC Treader? Let's just go with Treader. NFLPA president, JC Treater. When I played for the Browns, I could go to the casino in Cleveland and play blackjack. But if I do that on the road, I face a suspension. We need to look at how the rules are written. And if you listen to this clip, can't play it because of copyright, but if you listen to the clip, it's a very good breakdown of when you're at home, The only thing you have to necessarily worry about is the facility piece, right? Because you're not worrying about no team charter, no bus, no anything like that, team hotel, anything like that. But you can go gamble at a casino. Because again, it's a as long as you're placing non-NFL bets, so many tabs, stand by, here we go. So non-NFL bets, but done at work, right? So you can make non-NFL bets as long as you're not at work. So having the fact that you could be a Cleveland Brown living in Cleveland and you could go to the casino in Cleveland and play blackjack to your heart's content. You could burn all your per diem money. You could burn all your bread because it's just blackjack. But you can also place a non-NFL bet at the sports book at that same casino in Cleveland. As long as you're not making an NFL bet, you're okay. But was that made crystal clear to the players? In his breakdown, it seems to be very clear, very simple to me. We are going to bounce around because there's so much to dive into here. And I'll spin back and try to clean this up and try to put things in proper order and context, but it's so much to break down. This is such a story that's evolving as the day goes along. So we have your man from the Titans who made his pleas in a statement to ESPN. And he says how, he was mixed up in this and whatnot. I'll see if I could bring this window up. The main thing he says here is the betting I engaged in was not NFL related and was legal under Tennessee law. And then it's cut off. It is only being sanctioned because it occurred at the Titans facility. Okay. Then he goes into apologizing and all that type of stuff, right? But the main thing is he's saying, like, look, man, it was legal and it was not NFL related, but I placed a bet at the Titans facility. Apparently, he didn't realize that that was a no-no. And again, facility in context can mean a lot of things, but at this point, he's saying this was a home. He was at home. So that kind of limits what the actual term facility means, and that actually means a facility, Nissan Stadium, the practice field, so on and so forth. So the fact that, he thought he could be at the crib in Tennessee as a Titan and could still place a bet while at the arena, facility, stadium, whatever, that needed to be made clear. And a lot of players are saying this was not made clear to us. So now what happens when all these suspensions are happening? Let me get this lined up. When all these suspensions are now happening and players are getting knocked, because we have multiple players here. 10 over the last 2 years since this has become a thing. We got the 4 people in this latest shakedown: Rodgers, Berry, Tony, and Petit Frere. And the fact that Rodgers and Berry are indefinite, they've already been let go by the Colts. The Colts got them up out the paint real quick, real fast. You see it here, update. The Colts have waived Isaiah Rodgers and Rashad Berry. Done. And they're probably going to be blackballed. Much like, Colin Kaepernick is still out here saying, hey, man, I'm still waiting. 35 years old, I'm still out here waiting. You might see Isaiah Rodgers and Rashad Berry and sadly Eric, what was his man's name? Eric Reed, also in that same line with Colin Kaepernick, just still waiting for the opportunity, still waiting for a chance. It doesn't seem likely to happen, but that's where we are right now. Okay. $1,000 prop bet. So this is clearly insider trading. There's no way around this. This is insider trading. Now no, there's really no way. There's no way. You just got caught. I'm trying to think of a way to spin your way out of this. And the thing I think the players are having a hard time understanding is that, and hopefully all athletes and everyone else understands, these apps track you. These apps are detailing your wins and losses to said leagues. It's a part of their terms and conditions. It's a part of the agreement. So when, your man's Rodgers is out here placing bets, that flag, that red flag, rings off real quick to whatever sports book he used. So the fact that he had an account and he had insider trading, because again, this is how you track that it was a fugazi bet, that this was insider trading, because the bets were of the $25 to $50 range. Then all of a sudden, you put a G on the bet. All of a sudden, a track record that showed $25 to $50 ranges. Little bullshit parlays, whatever. But then you put 1,000 straight up on a prop bet on over under rushing yards on the team that you play for? Bruh, you can't. I mean, that's not even hustling backwards. That's just idiot shit. Idiot shit. There's no way for me to clean that up. It's just straight up idiot shit. This story has so many layers to it. I want to break this down piece by piece. Let me come off the screen for a second and clean this up here. Get this right. Okay, so we should be good there. Okay, cool. So, if you're unfamiliar, 4 players have been suspended. Okay? We have the list here. Rodgers and Barry indefinitely. Tony from the Washington Commanders indefinitely. So that's 3 players indefinitely. And then you add on Nicholas Petit-Frere for 6 games. Okay? This is going to send shockwaves not just only through the NFL, but to other sports leagues. You don't think dudes in the NBA are making sure that their accounts are airtight? MLB? Soccer? All of them. College? All of them. Because these apps are tracking you. These sports books that you try to go out here and get free credits, free bets, you're never getting anything for free online without a catch. And that's what's happening with these sports apps. They are tracking you. They make you share your location. They are sending all types of geo data, not just for their own safekeeping, but for their partners. In this case, this is the NFL. In this case, NFL players had accounts and their accounts were flagged with improper betting. And because now you have to have the geo tracking on to validate that you're in the place that you are supposed to be in to be placing this bet, now they can track where you were. Now they can look up the longitude and the latitude and pinpoint exactly where you were when you placed that bet. It's really scary hours when you think about it. And the fact that Rodgers was caught out here as a member of the Colts and he placed a $1,000 prop bet on the over-under of rushing yards on a Colts running back, and he hit that day, that's insider trading. There's absolutely no other way to go about it besides that is insider trading. He might have had inside information knowing that, hey, we are going to load up on the run game this week. Yo, put a G on it. Not the little $25, $50 3-teamers, same game parlay type shit, little bonus kicker. No. A rack. Straight up. Insider trading. How did he think he was going to get away with that? Even if you were unsure of where you were to place bets and all the rules and stipulations that they have the rules and everything else down here. Oh, yeah, that's right. Jameson Williams was not on that list, was he? Jameson Williams was on that list? Oh, yeah, he is. Okay. So they have their little 6 rules. These are the 6 key rules of the gambling policy the league officials will emphasize. Don't bet on the NFL. Real simple. Don't bet on the NFL. Okay? Don't gamble at your team facility while traveling for a road game or staying at a team hotel. Because again, team facility includes the bus, the plane, and a hotel. So anything in regards to on the road, just don't do it. Because all of it is considered a team facility. When you get on the plane, that's a team facility. When you get off the plane to get on the bus, that's a team facility. When you get to the hotel to check in, that's a team facility. Okay? So you cannot, under any circumstances, bet on the road at those specific spots. Now, maybe if you wander the streets, take an Uber somewhere, a couple of miles away, as long as you're in a state that allows gambling, then I'm assuming there's no thing there. But again, can't be on the NFL. Can't be on the NFL. So don't have someone bet for you. And you know what that means. Because they want you to put everything in your name so that they can continue to track you. So don't have someone bet for you. Don't share team inside information. Isaiah Rodgers did not see this one through. Don't enter a sports book during the NFL playing season. Now, this one is a little tricky. This one is a little tricky because sometimes in these casinos, depending on the sports book, it's not necessarily a clear, defined difference. Like, you can go, I've been in casinos where the casino is, there's slots, there's tables, all of that stuff. And then right next to it, with no barrier, no wall to separate, it's a sports book. Now, does that count? If I'm in a casino that doesn't have a separated sports book, the sports book is inside the actual casino, surrounded by the slots, the tables, and so on and so forth, is that considered a sports book, or is that still considered a casino? Now, if you go to Vegas, you go to proper spots, the sports book is separated from the casino. But because I'm here on the East and because I'm here in the Northeast, I can tell you there are casinos where the sports book is not separated from the regular casino. So what happens in that case? What if you're on a riverboat casino? Like some of those down south. I got people in Louisiana. I know all about the riverboat casinos. Some of those casinos got a little sports book section, and it's not necessarily closed off from the rest of the casino. Does that count? If I'm on a riverboat casino that just so happens to have a designated area where one can place a bet on sports, does that entire boat count as a sports book? This is where you have the gray area. This is gray area. And I don't know if these things are being brought up. But if you're the NFLPA, and y'all know how I feel about the NFLPA overall, I don't think these things are being brought up because there's definitely some gray area here where you can't just say don't enter a sports book during the NFL playing season. So if I'm on my bye week and I travel to somewhere that has a state that has a legalized gambling, I can't go to a casino that might just so happen to have a sports book intertwined within the casino floor. I have to now call ahead and make sure if I'm really about that life to still want to go through with it, I have to call ahead to make sure, hey, is your sports book connected to the casino or is it separate? I might want to go in there and play some blackjack, some craps, play the slots. But if your sports book is connected, I can't go in there. And this last one, don't play daily fantasy football. Good luck with that one. Again, I'm surprised that there's so many players that are being caught using their own names. I am absolutely stunned by that. Because if you're an OG of gambling from way before the legalization of it in all the states that it is now, you never used real names. Like you never gamble under your real name. Even when you're doing the online offshore accounts, you never used your own. All right, man. Let me not say too much here. So, as we talked about, Colts DB Isaiah Rodgers won a $1,000 bet on his own team last year. It was a prop bet on the over/under on rushing yards by a Colts running back. What is unusual is that the majority of his bets were in the $25 to $50 range, but this one was $1,000. Did Rodgers? No, should not be new. Did Rodgers know something ahead of time that made the bet so much more money that week? And the answer is yes, he had to. There's no other reason, there's no other rationale. Like, yes, he knew something. He knew the Colts were either going to run the hell out of the ball or they were not going to run the ball at all. And he put a rack on it. Under his own name. Just so silly. And as you see here, going over this piece by piece, it's really just it's a nasty web. It's a nasty web of bait and switch because players are thinking they can join a sports book. They're in a state where it's legalized, or they maybe reside in the off season in a state where it's legalized. And they think, all right, well, I could just do my little account. I could do my little thing. Like if you are Jamison Williams and the two other players here, and you're making non-NFL bets, but you happen to be at what's considered a team facility, which again, isn't just, I'm at the stadium or the practice facility. It could mean I'm on the bus heading to the airport. It could mean I'm on the charter. It could mean I'm in the hotel. Feel bad for the players, man. Feel bad for the players, and players are trying to cop pleas, and that's fine. And the NFLPA is going to got some work to do. They got some work to do to clean this up because, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to go away. I don't think these rules are strict enough or clarified enough. Because it says here, the NFL said last week it planned to reinforce its gambling policy to players. So this right here hasn't even been emphasized yet. This is going to be what will be told to players. Don't bet on the NFL. Don't gamble at your team facility. Don't have someone bet for you. Don't share inside information. Don't enter a sports book. Don't play daily fantasy. 11 players, at least one assistant coach, and an undisclosed number of league personnel. Here, that's the part to me that's not being discussed enough at all. Okay? 11 players, at least one assistant coach, and an undisclosed. Why is this undisclosed? If the players could be aired out, I don't remember who the coach was. If y'all do, let me know in the chat or in the comments on the replay. And an undisclosed number of league personnel. So this is people that work for the Shield themselves, and they didn't understand the gambling policy. So if I'm the NFLPA, why are all my guys being put out here on Front Street for the world to know their name? Half these dudes we don't even know. Let's go ahead and keep it a buck. Half these players you don't even know. Jamison Williams is the biggest name out here, and he hasn't even played a full season yet. I guess you go Calvin Ridley, but in terms of like real star power, Jamison Williams is the name here. Meanwhile, there's been undisclosed number of league personnel, people that are drawing checks directly from the NFL, that have been suspended for violating the NFL gambling policy since 2018. This is just at least these 10 players. Well, these 10 players, at least within the last, where's my little tab? Here. This is within the last 2 years. Since 2018, there's been an undisclosed number of league personnel that have been suspended for violating that same policy. Who are they? How high are their ranks? Who might they be related to? Just questions I have. Questions I have. That's all. All right. Forgot to put my little red thing on. It's all good. Okay, so we are, let me see, it's 4:30. We are under 26 hours away. We are under 25 and a half hours away from the beginning of NBA free agency. And I'm not doing the prayer hands because I'm so happy for free agency to start. I'm doing prayer hands because I'm so happy that the lying free agency season can then end. And we're going to get actual deals made, actual transactions to happen tomorrow at 6 p.m. And we lead off today's, I'm not saying this is a lie per se, but he's a free agent. There's going to be a lot of teams interested in Bruce Brown. But of course, if you want to get some clicks, put the Lakers on anything. Just go ahead and just put the Lakers on anything. It will get you some clicks. So therefore, here we go. The Lakers are increasingly confident they can sign free agent Bruce Brown Jr. for the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, starting at a projected $12.4 million. Now, here is the problem with that. Now, again, I'm not saying it's lying. Now, yesterday, there was some lying. There was definitely some lying yesterday, and you could check that out on the tab, on the live tab. Let's go down to his contracts, right? Where's his contracts? Where's the contracts? Oh, Basketball Reference, you make things too difficult. All right, we'll just scroll down. Okay. This is Bruce Brown's money. You think Bruce Brown, so under $1 million, then 1.4, 1.6, and then last year, 4.7. Okay. Then his current contract, so last year was 6.5. We'll round up, 6.5 last year. So progressive increases every single year. You think he's going to turn down real money to take Lake Show money? Because he's got 6.5 last year. I see you, Dre. I'm coming there in a second. Pause. 6.5 last year. Now, the mid-level would double his money. That sounds great. Doubling your money after the performance he had, it makes a lot of sense. However, this is the NBA where contracts are going to be crazy. They're talking about giving Van Vliet 40 M's a year. And I'm Bruce Brown, fresh off of Larry O.B., and I was a significant part of that Larry O.B. And you want me to take 12.4? For what? Might as well go back to Denver for that. At least I could run it back and get another chip. What makes anyone think he's going to take the low from the Lake Show just because he wants to play with LeBron James? Like, that luster has fell off, bro. Dudes don't look at Bron that way anymore. The allure of Bron is a wrap. Dudes are not going to take any type of bread just to say I hooped with Bron. I was LeBron's teammate. That shit's over, bro. And again, this goes into what I said a few weeks ago, like every free agency, you hear the same names, you hear the same cities and the same teams, and it's always for leverage. And those cities and those teams are always the LA Lakers, the Miami Heat, and the New York Knicks. And I guess now we could throw in the Nets by default because it's still New York. Those three locations are always going to be thrown in the mix for negotiating and leverage purposes. Not because of any actuality, just for actual negotiation and leverage purposes. So I'm not saying the Lakers aren't interested in Bruce Brown. I think they would be wise to be interested in Bruce Brown. The problem is that if you think that's going to get it done, a 12.4, when Fred VanVleet might be getting 40 M's from Houston on a 2-year deal, you got to be insane. You got to be insane. This is not even Dylan Brooks money. And you want Bruce Brown to take that just so he can say, I played with Braun? Fuck out of here. Dre in the chat was good. Bruce trying to get a bag. Yes, he is. As he should. Uh-oh. And Higgs, see, Dre hit me with the okie doke. He gave me a real legit comment, and then he hits me with the hot take stuff. All right, come on. You think Kawhi and PG-13 will be broken up? And if it does, what would you do in that situation? I'm trading Paul George if I'm in that situation. I'm keeping Kawhi. Kawhi is the better player. I do not think they will be broken up because I can tell you this. The only reason why Paul George is in LA as a Clipper is because of Kawhi. So for Kawhi to co-sign a deal involving Paul George, what's coming to the Clippers better be a player of Paul George's ilk or better. So I don't know what type of player that is, unless you're telling me Dame and Kawhi. So no, I don't think that's going to happen. I'll put it up for those on the replay. I do not think that this is going to happen where Kawhi and Paul George break up, where the Clippers decide to break it up. I'm not saying they shouldn't do that. I wouldn't have put Paul George with Kawhi in the first place, but they had to get somebody because that was Kawhi's demand. I'm not pulling up to be a one-man band. I need it to be a duo. He wanted it to be Jimmy, but Jimmy didn't want to pull up. Paul George was Kawhi's third choice. Okay? Now, we'll wait for, 10 months from now, and Cameron will say it on his show, and then he'll get credit for breaking that shit. But, So, we got that over there. Let's move on. Again, what a surprise. More Laker information. More Laker tea and innuendo. If the Lakers sign Bruce Brown, they could still retain Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura, as well as D'Angelo Russell. That last piece was unnecessary. There is no chance in hell that last piece is happening, but okay. They could still retain Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and D'Angelo Russell, okay? This is painting a dream scenario. Lakers get Bruce Brown on the mid-level. That frees them up to go give Austin Reeves $100 million, to go give Rui his bag, and they could throw some lower tier bread at D'Lo. What would it mean for Malik Beasley and Mo Bamba? Now, before we get to a little excerpt from the Athletic article, we all know what it means. It means they won't be Lakers next year. Like, that's all that means. Like, it just means Malik Beasley and Mo Bamba will not be Lakers next year. However, the official breakdown goes as follows. The most realistic path is to decline Beasley's team option and waive Mo Bamba's 10.3 non-guaranteed contract. So again, essentially getting rid of Malik Beasley and Mo Bamba. So of those two, I would keep Mo Bamba because Malik Beasley just didn't translate. Like, he was supposed to be a guy, and it never really materialized for him. So, and I understand this is coming from the Lakers reporter from the Athletic, and it's the Lakers, so it's always going to generate context and it's going to generate engagement and clicks. But I mean, dogs, come on, man. In more Clipper news, Clippers waived Eric Gordon, right? They have declined to guarantee Eric Gordon's $21 million salary for next season. He will become a free agent. Doing that move saves the Clippers $110 million in luxury tax. And you see Ballmer's, not necessarily his reaction, but something close to that, wherever you can find him right now. Probably somewhere private where all the tracking devices are turned off. That will be his reaction. And we'll hit NBA Central to see if there's anything What's the latest? Okay, and again, automatically, we already have teams that are interested in Eric Gordon, and it's the same teams. Again, here we go again, the Lakers. Always the Lakers, because again, we need the Lakers to want everybody. Grizzlies, Timberwolves, Suns, because again, the Suns are now entering that phase of being one of those teams. And of course, the Trailblazers, because, we got to give Dame some help. Oh, damn, I didn't want to say his name. I didn't say his name at all yesterday. I was hoping not to say his name again today. All right, so we already broke that rule. I will not say his name for the remainder of the stream. And we got the Bucks here. Report Lakers have multiple veteran point guards on their radar, as they should, because right now they don't have any that they trust on their roster right now. Okay, what else we got here? Keep an eye on Toronto providing Gabe Vincent with a landing spot if Fred VanVleet ultimately departs from the Raptors. I could tell you for a fact, Fred VanVleet is departing from the Raptors. So that means Gabe Vincent will cash out, leave the whole thing of Heat culture behind for a bag. I think that actually has some merit to it. That has some merit to it. The Beard could command up to $45 per million. Wow, per million. Could command up to $45 million per year on his next deal. There's a recent belief that Harden could command an average annual salary of $40 to $45 million per year on a short-term deal from the Sixers after previously taking a discount with the Sixers to help the team land PJ Tucker. Y'all remember that was the whole tampering thing. That was not really called tampering, but it was tampering. Okay, Bradley Beal. There's some Bradley Beal stuff that's actually, I think, okay. Some sound we could potentially play. The Pelicans are looking at trades involving Kira Lewis Jr. Those are going to be low-level trades. And that's the thing we just talked about with Bruce Brown and the Lakers. And for the second day in a row, we got some Kuzma stuff. The Houston Rockets are emerging as a strong landing spot for Kyle Kuzma. Again, I'm not saying this is a lie, but you have to understand the Houston Rockets have a shit ton of cap space. So they're in on every free agent. I saw a scenario earlier today in regards to, they could get VanVleet and Dillon Brooks. And I'm like, you got all that cap space. So I think we saw yesterday, but $60 million in cap space. And you're going to spend it on Dillon Brooks and Fred VanVleet? I just don't understand the rationale. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you do that to yourself to where you're dropping big bread? You have 60 mil of cap space. So you're failing on the Beard. Because you were running around asking every coaching candidate in the interview process how they feel about James Harden. Now that he's looking like he's going to stay put on a short-term deal with the 76ers, your plan B is VanVleet and Dillon Brooks. That's a hell of a fall from grace, bro. You might as well just hang on to that bread. Just hang on to that bread and see what you could do in terms of, that means, the Kuzma thing makes more sense than Dillon Brooks and Fred VanVleet. This one kind of broke the internet a little bit. Kyrie Irving will meet with the Phoenix Suns. So now everyone is saying, oh, wow, if you could get Kyrie for the low, now is it a super team? If I give you Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Kyrie Irving, is that a super team? I was very critical of saying how I thought Bradley Beal to the Suns still did not make them a super team. What do I think of a potential quintuplet with now a big four? Even though Bradley Beal's not really a big three. Anyway, for the sake of the argument, a big four with Beal, Kai, KD, and Book, still not a super team. Sorry. It's just names. It's names. Frank Vogel had a struggle when it was just Bron and AD in terms of corralling their ego's there. Can you imagine trying to wrangle Book, KD, Beal, and Kyrie? Oh, I would go to that Matt Ishbia and be like, yo, bro, we had to re-examine this contract. I'm going to need you to kick up some more M's if you bring in Kyrie Irving, bro. Kelly Oubre is unlikely to return to Charlotte. Not a surprise there. They're cleaning house. Shout out to Rod Boone. He was off the grid for a little bit, but I'm glad he's back in the mix. He was a really good reporter back up here for the, what was that, the Post he was on? The Post, the Newsday? He was covering the Nets. He was doing some good stuff. And this is real talk right here. And I'm glad this is actually coming out because there's been a lot of talk about Miami. And like I just said, Miami's one of those destinations that's always leveraged in these types of conversations. Pat Riley had a hard time selling Mickey Arison on a Bradley Beal trade. Quote, Riley couldn't sell the owner on the tax consequences down the road. It was a hard contract to move. Bradley might have been stuck in Washington if it hadn't been for the new guy in Phoenix wanting to make a splash. The thing is that Mickey Arison, the owner of the Miami Heat, does not like getting into the luxury tax and will do it at all costs. He even did it during the LeBron era. What was that, Mike Miller? I think it was Mike Miller they got rid of just to get under the luxury tax. And that was when they were trying to win chips with LeBron. So Mickey Arison has shown a propensity to not want any parts of this luxury tax. And that's why whenever I hear about, oh, this star wants to come to Miami, I'm like, bruh, these dudes make too much money. Because this dude ain't trying to pay no luxury tax. Every single year, they were this close to getting Kevin Durant. They were this close to getting this star, that star. Now it's Dame Lillard. Now it's Brad Beal. This dude don't care about that shit. He wants chips for the low. If you can't field a team good enough under the luxury tax, well, I guess that team just ain't going to be good enough. Because I am not willing to spend to get a chip if it involves me heading into the luxury tax. Vucevic re-ups with the Bulls. It's a savvy deal for both sides because the Bulls can still trade Vucevic. But at least the Bulls can now get something for Vucevic. If Vucevic would have walked in free agency, the Bulls would have got nothing. So at least in this type of move, you re him up. And if the right deal comes along, you flip him for something. Again, it was a move I think they should have never done in the first place. They got gassed in thinking, they had Zach LaVine and he needed help. So they thought Vucevic could be that, that guard big man, that guard center combination, little pick and pop action. And then him and DeRozan go way back to USC. So there's a lot of reasons why the Bulls did it. But to me, none of them were winning basketball reasons. So they bring back Vucevic. They could still move him ultimately down the line. Decent move. Not worry about no damn Ben Simmons. Clippers are a dark horse team in the James Harden sweepstakes. Again, we're just trying to get to tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. We're just trying, bro. We're trying with all our heart. Emmanuel Quickley is looking for 9 figures on his next deal. So let's go ahead and do that math. We know 6 figures is 100,000. We know 7 figures is in the singular millions. 8 figures is 10 million to 99 million. Emmanuel Quickley thinks he's worth $100 million. Can you imagine the Knicks dropping big bread, $100 million plus contracts for Jalen Brunson, which worked out, and Emmanuel Quickley? What? Don't expect Quickly to look for a hometown discount. He is going to want 9 figures, and that's for 4 years. 25 mil a year. Oh. 25 mil a year for a dude who averaged 15 points last year. It's amazing. It's just amazing. The Cavs are interested in Miles Bridges, assuming he's allowed back into good graces. All right, let's see. If there's anything else, then I'll slide off of NBA. Skipping that Portland story. All right, we're good with that. So let's get into some NFL money. We talked about it briefly at the end of the stream yesterday, but I did a little bit more digging, and some other people also did a little bit more digging, and our guy Warren Sharp came up with a list. Miles Sanders kicked it off by saying it sucks to be a running back right now. Now, he got a multi-year deal, but it's in no way in comparison to what his output is, even on a down year with the Eagles last year. But that kicked off this conversation in this thread by Warren Sharp. If there is a position that is underpaid, it's clearly tight end. Out of the top 25 paid receivers, there's only 3 tight ends. And Kelsey and George Kittle are behind wide receivers like Allen Robinson, Cortland Sutton, and Hunter Renfrow. Let me hang on for a second. I see Mavs Main that's pulled up. What's good, Mavs Main? I need you to speak on James Harden about to force his way out of a third team. Well, that depends on who you believe. Remember, this is lion season. So it's a lot of lies getting off right now. So the Clippers are interested in James Harden. I'm not surprised by that, especially with the fact that they just declined picking up the option on Eric Gordon, right? So I'm not surprised that the Clippers are interested. Here's the thing. Russell Westbrook is supposed to come back to the Clippers. Supposed to. Paul George and Kawhi are still there. How the hell does the beard work with the Clippers? I don't understand it. I would love for someone to make sense of that to me, because Russie actually played well. Now, Russie's Russie. He's a liability. The beard is less of a liability at this point in his career compared to Russie at that point in his career. But I just don't see how this works. Now, Harden can be a point guard. He can be a facilitator, but he also wants to get his shots. And when you have the beard and Boardman and Pandemic P and Russie, how is that working? That's the problem I'm having. There's a lot of teams, like, he still might end up in Houston. Who the hell knows? But it makes more sense for him to stay in Philly. Now that Doc Rivers is gone, I'm sure he's already told Nick Nurse, yo, dogs, I want my shots. Because Doc Rivers allegedly tried to get the beard to be more of a true point guard instead of who he's been his whole career, especially since he's gone to Houston. So now, if Nick Nurse promised you to hand you the keys, and you are hooping with the reigning MVP, although it might be fraudulent based off the playoffs, but you still are hooping with the reigning MVP. You're going to walk away from that to go try to figure it out again, a new cohesion thing, a new offense, a new system, with Kawhi and Paul George struggling to play 50 games? Why? So I understand why the Clippers would want to do it. But they just shaved a lot of money in getting rid of Eric Gordon's contract to get under the luxury tax. Now, unless the math it ain't mathing, the Beard's money is going to be more than what Eric Gordon would have gotten. So that means Steve Ballmer is not willing to go into the luxury tax for Eric Gordon, but he is willing to go into the luxury tax for James Harden? 4 years ago, I could see that. But 2023, 2024? I don't know. I do not know. So let me know. Mavs, man, do you really think that? I know the Clippers are interested, so cool. Do you think the Beard is actually interested in the Clippers? Because it has to be a two-way thing here. In the meantime, I'll slide over to what we were talking about in regards to these tight end money. So, top 25 paid receivers, only 3 are tight ends. And Travis Kelce, George Kittle are behind wide receivers like Allen Robinson, Cortland Sutton, and Hunter Renfrow. This is where the average money, because again, the players, certain positions care about certain money. Quarterbacks, it's signing bonus, average annual salary per year, and the guarantees. Wide receivers, as CeeDee Lamb is about to get a tremendous bag if you believe those rumors. But if we're looking at the average salary, and we went through this briefly yesterday, but I'm looking at, and again, Kelsey's not even making Darren Waller money, which is ridiculous, right? Kelsey's not even making Darren Waller money. It's clear as day right here. Kelce can't get Allen Robinson money, Cortland Sutton. Mike Evans, sure, that's still a pure number one wide receiver, right? Hunter Renfrow, Deontay Johnson, Brandon Cooks. And if you look at what tight ends are asked of, they're asked to be elite at pass catching, route running, extending the field vertically, yak, all of that. And they got to run block and pass pro. So they're putting the bodies more on the line every play than a wide receiver. How come that doesn't translate in terms of monetary value? Someone needs to break the glass ceiling. But that also means a team needs to be forced to break that glass ceiling. Because you can ask for whatever money you want. If the team is refusing to give it to you, they're not going to give it to you. So if Travis Kelce wants more money, and we had the story yesterday of him saying, my agents and managers love to tell me I'm underpaid, which seems to be a common thing in Kansas City because as if you're a loyal watcher of the Tom Lon T stream, you know that Patrick Mahomes was told by his own owner that he will forever be underpaid. So there's something going on in Kansas City where dudes ain't getting their value. But this Kelce number is ridiculous. Now, he is certainly older. But he's 34, 35 years old. So you would think he's on the tail end. But as long as he's got Mahomes, that might not be the case. As long as he can withstand the physical punishment of playing that position, why isn't he getting Deontay Johnson? Like, I could justify him getting 20 M's. We can't justify Travis Kelce, arguably the best at his position, getting 20 mil? I mean, Darren Waller was trending to be that guy that could break the glass ceiling, but he's fallen on hard times. George Kittle, as great as he is, he's been hurt a lot. But Kelce has had that magic elixir of still being at the top of your game and I got the best QB in the game. Travis Kelce should be able to make more money, justifiably so, than Deontay Johnson and Brandon Cooks. And low-key, he should be making more money than Chris Godwin and Mike Williams. These two dudes are number 2 receivers on their own teams. Kelce is the number 1 receiver on his team. And he's making just about $6 million less than 2 dudes who are number 2 wide receivers on their respective teams. It's hella problematic, bro. Hella problematic. And you look at some of these names, like, okay, you start at the top, Tyreek Hill, yup, he should be one of those. Devontae Adams should be one of those. Cooper Kupp, yup. AJ, yup. Stephon Diggs, yup. DK. How do we feel about DK being this high up? Is DK Metcalf even the number 1 wide receiver on Seattle? Deebo Samuel, makes sense. Terry McLaurin. Yeah, but nah. But respect. I ain't trying to take no money from him. Respect. DJ Moore, yes. Keenan Allen, yes. Amari Cooper, hell yeah. Mike Williams, that's where you start to lose me. Chris Godwin, that's where you start to lose me. Brandon Cooks, Deontay Johnson, Christian Kirk. This is where you start to lose me. But it is really, really crazy where all this money is going. How can you understand, or how can you really tap in and give players justifiably their fair market value when no one's broken the glass ceiling? With the importance of tight end in today's NFL, it is imperative to pay them according to scale. And they are just not doing it. If Kelce's, I mean, you got to say he's the best, and if he's not the best, he's second. He's the 3rd highest paid tight end, and it's a big gap. $3 million is a lot. $3 million is a big gap. Now, Waller got his money last, so that makes sense in terms of him being that much more than these two, but it's time to re-up Kelce. You got to give him more than Waller, so that puts him in the 18 range minimum. But then when you look at the fact that that's Christian Kirk, Deontay Johnson range, if I'm Kelce, I'm like, no, I need more than them. I'm more impactful to my team than Deontay Johnson and Christian Kirk. Then you say, all right, well, what about 19 mil? Like, well, I can't make less than Brandon Cooks. I'm more important to my team than Brandon Cooks is to his team. All right, fine. 20 million. I mean, you got 2 number 2 receivers making 20 mil. I'm the number 1 wide receiver. Now you're talking 21 million. That seems to be the sweet spot. Get him into the top 10. If Keenan Allen is 20 and a quarter, all right, let's go ahead and give let's go get Travis Kelce 20 and 50,000. Let's get him into the top 10. Now, how long he'll remain there because CD Lamb is getting his bag, I don't know. But I think that's what they should do. Give Travis Kelce his money. NFL players are severely underpaid, and it's kind of a travesty as we got players getting knocked for, making prop bets for a rack. These dudes are out here getting jerked on millions. Patrick Lewis in the house. What's good, Patrick? I'm late on the Harden news, but let the NBA shenanigans begin. Bruh, I am tired of it. It's just, you're late on it, but I am already tired of it, bro. There's been so many lies, bro. Like, this makes sense. In 2K, this makes sense from the Clippers' point of view. It doesn't make sense to me from the Bears' point of view. You want to run with Pandemic P and Boardman and Rusty? I don't know, man. I don't see it. It's crazy, though. It's crazy that we have reached this point. Sixers and James Harden will work on a trade out of Philadelphia. So we're getting the sign and trade, And that's why we're getting the Clippers angle. But is this Houston? Don't sleep on Houston. Is this Houston? Oh, man. Let me let the wonderful people of the Elon app know that we are out here and we are talking about their team. Because the Philly fans, we have a hate-hate relationship. So let me just go ahead and make sure that they are up to speed, that I am outside and I'm out here talking about their team. So give me 1 sec while I type up all of this. You know what I'm saying? Just so they could be advised that, yeah, I heard and y'all need to hurry up and pull up because we outside. Okay, copy link. Yep, we're going to do that. And let's go ahead and hit the Elon app and tweet out all of this. Mavs, man. Woj said that Knicks might be involved. Bruh, I'm telling you, it's every year. Every year we get the nonsense. Every single year. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right. Tweeted that out. So let's go ahead and get this lined up. So your man's Woj is out here. Let's go ahead and pull him up. Let's go ahead. It looked like tonight's going to be one of those nights. Okay, Josh Hart has exercised his $12 million. Okay, nobody cares. The Clippers and Knicks are expected to be among the teams that will engage with the Sixers on a potential James Harden trade. Oh, man. You got to love it. You got to love it. So the Sixers are going to pick up his $35.5 million option. Insides are beginning to work together in exploring trade scenarios. It is expected that Harden has played his last game for Philadelphia. So he's really going to try to do this Clipper thing? Is that really what type of time he's on? He's really going to try to do that? Also, we talked about this earlier, but the Lakers will indeed waive Mo Bamba and not pick up the team option on Malik Beasley. So it looks like they are trying to get into that Bruce Brown sweepstakes. That is amazing. So they really got the Eric Gordon money off the books to potentially clear it away for the beard. That is pretty wild, bruh. Pretty wild. Let's see what else we can find here. Let's get Shams up here. Let's go ahead. Let me get all this MB, the NFL stuff up out of here, and let's go ahead and just lock in. It's gonna be one of those days. We're getting closer to actually getting some real information. And there it is from the Shams point of view. Harden and the Sixers will begin working on the trade out of Philly, with the Clippers expected to emerge as an interested team in Harden. So now you see who didn't mention the Knicks. Shams did not put the Knicks out there, but Woj did. Now, if you know, you know, but there's a reason why Woj always seems to put the Knicks into stuff as opposed to Shams not putting the Knicks into stuff. It was actually one of the titles of the episodes of the D70 podcast, link in the description down there. It's times like this where it's like, as much as this is breaking news and it's important, it's like, okay, well, let's go ahead and just pull up the Clippers, right? Let's go ahead and work this out and pull up the Clippers in real time. What does Philly take from this Clipper roster? Now, this will not have their recent draft picks, right? Let's go ahead and get this. Terrence Mann, well, they got quickly already. Batum? Zubac? No. Marcus Morris is already gone. Norman Powell? Norman Powell's probably going to be in this trade. Spend a block on Rocco? There is also a hate-hate relationship with Philadelphia and Robert Covington. How does that play out? Russie? Try to convince Russie to do a sign and trade? Nasty. That would be doing Russie nasty. That will be doing Russie nasty. Who is going in this trade? If you're Daryl Morey, and we know what Morey covets, threes in bunches, right? It's got to be Norman Powell. He shot 40% from three last year. How many threes did he take, though? Did he take a lot of threes? He took 5 threes a game. Took 5 threes a game. Okay, so Norman Powell probably is in this deal. Let's go ahead and see if we could crunch the rest of these numbers. I need Spot Track up. Let me pull that up. I need Spot Track so we can look at these salaries. Let's see. Let's get NBA teams. Philadelphia. No, Clippers, right? Clippers, yeah. Clippers, that's who we need. Clippers. Current contracts. Okay. All right, Norm Powell. He makes 18 mil. All right, yeah, he's definitely in this deal. Norm Powell's in this deal. Not a lot of money here, especially when you take Eric Gordon out of here. Who were their draft picks? Oh, it's a lot going on today. Today's going to be a long stream. I feel it. Let me draft Clippers. I don't even know who they drafted. Let's see. Okay. All right, so here's the Clippers draft picks. Kobe Brown. Jordan Miller. Oh, from the U. Okay. I think I actually watched him play. Okay. Are either one of these being thrown in here? Kobe Brown, 6'8" with a 7'1" wingspan. Outside of Norman Powell, I can't navigate who else Morey would want in this deal. You would have to think at least another wing player, right? At least another wing player. Yeah, I don't think they should give up on Terrence Mann, especially if they're giving up Norman Powell. No way Paul George is in this, right? No way Paul George is in this. All right. No way Paul George is in this. Right? If you're Kawhi and the team brass comes to you and says, hey, look, we know you handpicked Paul George and we did whatever we had to do. We gave up way too many future first round picks to get Paul George here. However, we see that that's not going to work. There's a chance we could go bring in James Harden, but we have to give up Paul. Are you okay with that? So the duo will now be you and the Beard. If you're Kawhi, what do you do? Mavs man saying Marcus Morris still in the Clippers. Yeah, he was in that. Yeah, he was supposed to be in that deal. If you're Daryl Morey, I guess you got to do it for salary reasons, right? Because the Bears getting 35.6 M's. We could do the math here. This is $34 million. If it's Norman Powell and Marcus Morris, this is $34 million. So the salaries work, Mavs man. So I'm rolling from that perspective. And we know Marcus Morris is a Philly guy. I just don't know if I'm Daryl Morey then there's got to be more picks. But do the Clippers have any picks to give up? Like, I don't, after that Paul George deal, do they have any more picks? Let's see. Yeah, Morris will be an expiring deal, so cap relief. Powell's got some years left. He's got 2 years left on this deal. No, 3 years. After this upcoming season, he's got 3 more years. That's a lot to take on. But I can't see, I mean, do you take Bones? But Bones don't make no money yet. He don't make no money yet. And they still got to figure out if they're trying to bring Russie back. So if you trade for the beard, does that mean Russie's done? Or are you convincing Russie to come for the low? Pause. This is going to be weird. Let's stay locked in on these blue check boys and see if they're giving out any more information. Nothing from Woj. Shams giving up anything. Nothing from Shams, but we're talking about Herb Jones. Wait. Oh, okay. All right, I'm about to say Herb Jones is available. That's crazy. All right. Pelicans are declining forward Herb Jones 1.8 team option, which clears the way for Jones to be a restricted free agent and for the two sides to work on a long-term extension. Okay. So Herb Jones is about to get it back. Cool. I would love to read this article. Let me see if this will work today. Give me a sec here. I can, you know how the Athletic kind of blocks you reading their stuff? There's some ways around that. Let me just make sure that is working today before let's see. Is that going to work? Okay. Don't mind me. That's weird but glorious. Yeah, man. Tomorrow's going to be an insane day. I'm preparing. We will be here. God damn it. They're not letting me get through today. All right, let me see. There is a way. Let me just refresh. Because I want to read the article to see if Shams is giving up. He's not giving up. All right, let me see. I mean, I do have an actual account. Maybe I could just sign into my account. This microphone is in the way. That is not the right password. Of course it's not. All right, let me see. Give me a second, y'all. That's not it either. Huh. Maybe that's not my account. Damn. All right, let me see. Okay, here's Woj. Got it. Here's Shams, I mean. So we have the information here. The Clippers and potentially one more team. You notice he didn't say the Knicks like Woj did. Potentially one more team are expected to emerge as interested franchises in trade talks with the 76ers. The 76ers made it clear throughout the process that the franchise did not see a long-term future with Harden. Now, that's coming from Daryl Morey. And for someone who, basically lied to the people of Houston, because don't forget how Daryl Morey ended up being, the president of basketball operations or whatever the hell in Philly. He resigned from the Rockets job, citing that he needed to spend more time with his family. And literally 2 weeks later, pulled up with the same position with the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay, so understand that this man is not trustworthy. So the fact that he's out here saying that the franchise did not see a long-term future with Harden, something tells me that that was more the Beard did not see a long-term future with the Sixers, especially with Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse is not, that whole Kawhi year kind of gave us a glaze over what he actually is. Yeah, he is not that dude. Okay, so we got that out the way. I was glad I was able to give y'all that. Okay. Now, let's go ahead for shits and giggles, look at Knicks tape. We have kind of loosely figured it out. Norman Powell, Marcus Morris Sr., and whatever else, filler. The money works with Powell and Marcus Morris. Now, what if it's Knicks tape? Let's go ahead to Knicks tape. Current contracts. Let's see. All right. Bears make it $35.6 million. Who would Daryl? Now, again, this is an interdivision trade. These are highly unlikely. Now, I know the Wizards just did a deal with the Celtics, right? But that's not the norm. This would be two teams that made the playoffs making a substantial trade, not just little filler pieces, a substantial trade with each other. But let's play it out and make it seem like it's quasi-legitimate, right? Who would Morey want? Is this how quickly he gets his $25 million? Is this how quickly he gets his $25 million? But do you really want Maxey and quickly? You can't have that. You can't have that, right? Obi's been talking a lot of shit. He got caught on recorded. He got caught on a recording cursing out Tibbs. But then they went and signed his brother to a two-way. So I don't know if he's on the docket. Fournier's contract has been thrown in so many times, so you got to assume at least Fournier. But who would Morey want? I'm assuming he can't get RJ. I'm assuming. Assuming he can't get RJ, who else besides Fournier? Man, there's just not a lot here. I don't think Morey values a lot of these pieces. I mean, I don't think you do Hartenstein or Hartenstein. Grimes? He's not really making no money, though. The Knicks is always, because the Knicks have done such a piss poor job in drafting, and they really just don't have a lot of valuable assets. Now, yes, they have 1 million first-round picks. They're not to the level of, but they have a lot of future first-round picks at their disposal. But who, besides Fournier, let me see the multi-year. Who's? See, Fournier. I mean, do you do, like, if it's not quickly getting his bag, do you give Obi his bag and send him away? But it ain't gonna be no quickly money. How do the Knicks get involved in this? See, I need Woj to speak on that. Like, just throwing the Knicks out there doesn't really help because, let me see. Where's what's dude's name? Bobby Marks? Let's see. Maybe Bobby Marks has a understanding of it. What is Bobby Marks saying? Opting in allows New York to have the full 12.4 non-tax mid-level and stay just below the luxury tax. New York has $4.6 million of unlikely bonuses that could count towards the first apron. Okay. Okay. So Bobby's not really giving us that much. He's just saying Harden is not extension eligible because he signed a 2-year contract last offseason. He is an unrestricted free agent next year. So you're just picking up the 35.6 for this year, and then he could walk. I think it's better if you're Philly, you have to look at the Clippers thing better. The Clippers roster is better to pluck and choose from than the Knicks. I don't know who these pieces are. I mean, I don't think you could do Mitch Rob unless you think you could sign somebody in free agency. Maybe, I don't know who you get though. Would anyone be willing to throw RJ Barrett in this deal for James Harden? RJ Barrett, who's got a lot of years left. So if you're Philly, your big three could be Maxey, Barrett, and Embiid. Now, that sounds hilarious to me from a podcast standpoint, but from a basketball standpoint, I mean, at least you're younger and you got dudes locked up. You tried it with big names, it didn't work. Put some youth around Embiid, and maybe the combination of Maxey and RJ can both carry Embiid across the finish line next year. Because clearly veterans couldn't do it. So maybe he needs youngins to do it. I just don't see it for the Knicks. I don't see the pathway. Now you could get a third team involved. But if you're telling me Daryl Morey is going over this roster and is trying to pick pieces to acquiesce to the beard, and still help Joel Embiid, unless you're going to extend Obi and throw him in. So Fournier and Obi, because the Sixers do need a 4. They don't have a real 4. That PJ Tucker shit, you can't run that back. I just don't see it. At least the Clippers thing, you have it financially in regards to Norman Powell, and Marcus Morris. And this is where you're going to hear a lot of innuendo. You're going to hear a lot of rumors. But when you get to that money, that's when the shit gets real. And right now, Norman Powell and Marcus Morris make way more sense in a deal. Norman Powell's got 4 years left. Marcus Morris can come off the books next year. So you'll save 16 M's next year with him off the books. And Norman Powell, his contract can be moved. Like, his contract is movable. Let's see, what else? I'm turned up now. Now I need more information now. I need more information. I don't have, my phone is on airplane mode, so I can't hop into the group chats to see what's going on. Okay, let's see if this Woj thing is going to be protected. Woj still out here saying he's putting the Knicks on it. He's putting the Knicks on it. The Sixers are under no obligation to trade Harden, but it appears his focus is on finding a new team for the third time since leaving the Houston Rockets. The Sixers could have offered Harden as much as a 4-year, $213 million contract in free agency, but it was unlikely that they were going to make such a robust commitment to him. Harden had, just speaking in past tense, Harden had an interest in a reunion with the Rockets, but their guard focus has increasingly been on pursuing Raptors free agent Fred VanVleet. Harden is hopeful to find his way to a contending team in a trade scenario. Harden left as much as $15 million on the table a year ago by signing his current 2-year, $68 million deal, including a player option that allowed the Sixers the flexibility, aka tampering, to sign free agents PJ Tucker and Daniel House. All right. So here's the deal, right? Clippers, Knicks, those are just the ones expected. I'm going to go somewhere else with it. Yup. Let's go to Phoenix. God damn, there's nobody on this roster. There's nobody on this roster. Oh, man. There's literally nothing left. Thanks, Brad Beal. There's nothing left. You can't do Ayton and Embiid, right? I mean, Embiid likes to hang out on the 3-point line anyway, so he's not even really a 5 all the time. I mean, sometimes he likes to be out there like a stretch 4. Have Ayton be the 5 in the paint. Yo. Positionless basketball again in Phoenix and Ayton and Embiid? If you're Kevin Durant and you have your choice of Kyrie for the low, because that's the only way, because he's a free agent, and there's no way the Mavericks are going to do a sign and trade. And as you see, they don't have nothing that they would want, right? If you do Ayton straight up for the beard and the sign and trade, if you're Kevin Durant and Book and Durant, you want Kyrie for the low or the beard, but you got to give up Ayton. I might be inclined to go with the beard and getting Ayton up out of there. I might be. Patrick in the chat, thank you for pulling up, Patrick, man. Yahoo saying what you said about Norman and Marcus, but Philly adding Tobias. Okay, interesting. All right, let's see how that works. Now, I'm not going to move off of this. I think you throw Ayton in that bitch, you can have Embiid. Embiid could be out here at the 4, like a stretch 4 anyway, because he shoots so many damn threes. And you have Ayton in the paint. You could do some Twin Tower shit there. Just saying. All right, but now let's go back to Philly. But wait, hold up. So then that would be also they would add in Tobias and the beard. God damn, Daryl Morey, hold up. That's a lot of salary. How does that? Oh, Tobias is done next year. Oh, okay. That's a lot of money, though. That's a lot of money. They're going to have to, so the Clippers would have to put up more salary because I don't think that number is close enough. That's almost 40 and 35. So that's 75. Let's say 74 million, give or take. 74 million. Yo, Paul George might be in this bitch. Norman Powell, Marcus Morris. Maybe you throw in Batum. Yo, Paul. I know you like potting and all, but Yeah, bruh. It might be that time. It might be that time, bruh. To get to the money we're talking about. Patrick Ayton and Embiid, it's tough. I'm just saying, right? Like you see me. I'm literally spitballing this shit, trying to crunch the numbers. But if I'm Matt Ishbia, and he's clearly on a rampage trying to build a team on the fly, why not? Why not make that call, Ayton? And look, call Daryl Morey. You know Embiid ain't no real center. So I could get you a real center that will allow Embiid to go out there and he could shoot all the top of the key threes he wants with Ayton. Ayton could go down there and do all the dirty work. You could do pick and rolls with Embiid and Ayton. Ayton could rim run for Embiid. Like, that's some real shit. Ayton could rim run for Embiid. Like, The only way, if the Yahoo story that Patrick was kindly enough to pull up for us, adding Tobias is a lot of salary, bro. That means you got to put in Powell, Marcus Morris. That was just to get Harden. Now, if you're trying to throw in Tobias, that means more money has to come from the Clippers. And the only money that's worth a damn damn, PG. It had to be you. Damn, PG. Let me see if I can find that article. Who was that? Chris Haynes? Patrick, who was that? All right. Let me go to Yahoo. Oh, no. Ben Rauerbach? I don't know who the hell that is. Okay, Ben Rauerbach. Salute? Okay, so let's see. Okay, so this story doesn't have that. Who had that? Was it Chris Haynes? Who had that? Because I would love to figure that out. I would love to see who they think is going to be there. Yeah, it's the same John, right? That's the same John. Damn, I would love to know, because that to me is so interesting. Because if you throw in Tobias, that's an extra almost 40 mil. That's a lot of money, bruh. All right, 22 minutes. That's Ben again. Okay, so then maybe it's this story, or is this Ben again as well? No, Jeff Ziegler. Okay, Jeff Ziegler. Yep, he's a guy I know. All right, here we go. God damn, that's a lot of ads. Let's see. Oh, they don't have it either. Shit. This is factually not true, by the way. ESPN and The Athletic reported the Clippers in New York. That is not true. Only Woj put that out there. Shams did not put that out there. Oh man, I can't find it. All right, so we'll figure that out. But I really want to know how this works. I am all about trying to crunch these numbers. Oh, Jake Fisher. Good looks. Good looks. All right. Good looks on that. Okay. Let me come off the screen here and look for him. Jake Fisher. There he is. Then there's a tweet. Okay, cool. Good look, sir. The Clippers and Sixers have been in contact this week, where Los Angeles, among wide-ranging talks on Marcus Morris and Norman Powell, have approached Philadelphia on separate ideas of trading for James. Oh, okay. All right. So now, that kind of makes sense. Separate makes more sense, because combining the two of them in the same deal, you have to throw in Paul George. That would just been too hilarious. But two separate trades of potentially Norm Powell and Marcus Morris for something, either for the beard or for Tobias. Okay, now I could calm down, because I was like, dogs, if we get PG up out of here, that next podcast P episode, I need an unfiltered version. I need an unfiltered, unedited version. All right. That makes more sense now. Separate trades. Okay. All right. So that's about it for that. All right. Let me do another check. Shams got anything new? Nope. Okay. Woj gave us that story. There was nothing new there. Yeah, nothing new there. All right, so we could close that. Close that. All right. Let's see. Shit, almost at 2 hours. Hell of a time. I really want to explore this fucking Phoenix one. I think the Phoenix one is the one. If you want to be ballsy, the Phoenix one is the one. Because, I went over it earlier, where if you add Kyrie to this Phoenix team, is that a super team? And I'm still saying no. If you add the beard, though, instead of Kyrie, is it a super team then? I'm a little bit more inclined to say yes than with Kyrie. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how I feel about Kyrie at this point. Because this team needs a point guard, like a real one, not a dude that plays point, but is really a small shooting guard, like a real point guard. And I think the beard can be that for Phoenix. We know of him and KD. We know that, right? Now you got two dudes in Bradley Beal, or really just one dude. Bradley Beal can get his own shot, but that's not his strength. He attacks the rim pretty well, but that's really not his strength. You want him to be a shooter in this offense. You got three shooters in this starting lineup. You just need someone who can break people off the dribble, cause havoc in the paint, and then swing it to these three shooters. And I think that's the beard. Kyrie is going to want to get his own shots. And let's be clear, the beard is also going to want his own shots. But I just think the beard would be a better fit. Shit. Well, at least we got through that. I'm a little bit more like cool with the shits now. All right. So I think we will tap up out of here. I appreciate everyone pulling up, contributing in the chat. We will be here tomorrow. We're going to start from 4, our normal time, and we're just going to go. 6 p.m. Eastern, we get free agency tipping off. We're just going to go. Now, I may decide to push at the 5. So stay locked in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But either a normal 4 o'clock start, or we may push it back an hour to 5 to get a real strong lead into 6 when all the avalanche of actual deals can finally transpire. So I appreciate y'all for pulling up. Hit that like button if you haven't already, whether you're watching this live or on a replay. I really appreciate you giving this content a chance. So I'll check in again with y'all tomorrow for another edition of Timeline T. I'm your host, D Sam D, aka Sam Duzme Jr. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. Peace.